So, thank you for inviting me. Thank you for having me. And thank you all for coming to this presentation on futures literacy. This is the terrain I have been working in for quite a few years now. And I don't usually do this by myself. I don't usually do this alone. So I'm always on the lookout for others who also deal with the future or with futures, others who care about the later than now, about something that comes in the future, or who develop different futures for them. So I'm looking around here in the room, and maybe people watching the recording. Is anyone here working with the future, interested in the future? You can just show a hand and say what you do. So you work with the future. Can you say what exactly it is? Just a word, just a buzzword? Just the future of a whole nation. Wow, amazing. Yeah, big topic. So a lot of people are working in planning, in strategy. Also designers are important. Do we have any designers in the room? People work on budgets for the next year. I think most publishing houses have to think about, okay, how are sales going to be next year? They have to make predictions, have to make forecasts, have to set up a budget, and all that. So that's something that happens a lot, also in innovation. But it's a bit more than that. Even if you do not, as a professional, do innovation or sales forecasts or any of this, I think you also do work with futures. Anybody planning a holiday trip? Probably, I guess so. Most of us are planning a holiday trip. He is, okay. I think that's a good use of the future. We have an image, we create an image of what the holiday should be like and for whom and where it's going to be and all this. Some of us are thinking about retirement. That's also something that is related to the future. I've had examples of people thinking about getting a pet in the household. And that's something that's a pretty serious issue that needs to be discussed in the family, where a lot of people get involved in the decision of, well, where to go on holiday and whether to have a pet. So I think it is a very common thing to work with the future. I would claim all of you, all of us, we're all working with the future quite often. And what this competence of futures literacy is about, what my talk is about, is to do it with a bit more structure, maybe. Maybe do it more consciously, maybe more aware of what we are actually doing. This is what futures literacy is all about. And I have a little definition for you. The competence of futures literacy in this very short definition is to imagine different futures. So maybe different ways of developing a nation, or different ways of making holiday, or different pets maybe. And to imagine different futures individually or with others, and also for different reasons, for a variety of reasons, and with different methods. Maybe that's too abstract as of yet. Different futures individually with others, different reasons, different methods. Let's try a very simple example. Let's try something that we all do every day. As I mentioned, we all use the future more or less every day, if not constantly. And it starts in the morning when we think about what to wear for the day, how to dress. That's a very important decision that I think we all make. So again, asking into the room, so you made a choice today, this morning, when you came here on what to wear. And probably there were some reasons for that. Maybe some of you go to book fairs every year and in different countries and different regions, and they always wear the same thing. That's one way to deal with the future. Are there any other reasons for why you're dressing, why you chose what you chose? A national dress you chose, which is very important. Are there other reasons for what you're wearing now? Why you chose what you are wearing today now? So it could be also that it's comfortable. It could be that you had an image of who you're going to meet today and for what reasons you're going to meet this people, and what kind of impression you wanted to give to those people. That's a motivation to wear something specific, to wear a blouse, a shirt in a specific color, for example. Or maybe there were some outside issues, not so important maybe today, but the weather sometimes is an issue. Are you expecting a cold weather? So you pack some warm clothes and you dress clothes if the weather forecast is accordingly. Or is it sunny? Is it warm? So the outside conditions are very important. Your internal conditions are important. What impression do you want to leave with those that you're going to meet during the day? And the outside conditions are also important, like weather. So I asked a similar question a while ago at an event in a place where it was actually raining outside. And it's also a place where people ride their bicycles a lot. So, of course, what people answered when I asked the same question, what would you wear, or how did you choose what you're choosing? So they had to say something about the pants and the shoes that they were wearing to be appropriate for the rain that day. And I had a colleague who was translating those images, what people communicated, using an AI. And this is one of the dresses that came up in their images. So we're talking imagination and images using an AI. So there's a person riding a bicycle, basically fully dressed in a rain gear. So that's one way to think about the future, one reason to think about the future. And surprisingly, at the same event, there was another person who said, well, I had to wear whatever was available that was still clean because my washing machine had broken down yesterday. So the AI generated this kind of image of her personal situation and of her reason why she chose, or had to choose in this case, what she chose for that event, for that evening. So there are different futures, and there's different methods that you can apply. So again, the definition that you imagine different futures individually or with others. And that is already the essence of what futures literacy is all about. That we have images of something that has not happened yet. We have images of this event today, of this fair, of this conference, of this place, and we dress accordingly. So something that has not yet happened has an influence of what we do before that happens. And that is the essence of futures literacy. So we have those images, we have an image of an event, and those images come from somewhere. And that's a bit more theoretical after the very practical introduction with what are we wearing. We all have models in our minds, actually all living beings have models of themselves and of their environment. And those models generate the images that we have. And of course, those models have a history. Those models come from somewhere. They come, in this example, for example, from other book fairs that we have visited, or last year's book fair that we visited, or last year's holidays that we've made. So there's a long-term influence on our models that we build, and models consist of assumptions. There are different assumptions that we make about, okay, what is the weather going to be, how warm is it going to be in this place, and all these things. And it's important from a futures literacy point of view to be aware of those models, to be aware of the assumptions that we are making, and not just my own individual personal assumptions, but the interesting bit is to also become aware of the assumptions of others. Of course, with clothing, it's a very simplified example. When we work with this method of the Futures Literacy Laboratory on topics like the future of work, the future of learning, the future of education, the future of a nation, possibly. We engage people into revealing, making visible their different models of the future. We ask them about their expectations for what is likely to happen in the future in their mind and what they wish is going to happen in the future. And we bring them into an interaction with other people who also think about this topic and may have, and that could be one aha moment in these futures literacy laboratories, who may have exactly the same images of what is likely to happen and what they want to happen. Or they may have different images. They may have different expectations, different wishes, different forecasts. It's important to connect them and bring them together. And this is why I'm so keen and so interested in connecting here as well with other people who also work with the future and who use the future. So that's what we do in the Futures Literacy laboratories. And the competence of futures literacy consists, EU definition of a competence consists of the knowledge about what this is all about, what futures are about, the skill to actually work with the future, the practice of working with different futures, and the attitude, yes, it's okay that other people may have different images of the future and I should try to interact with them. So exploring those images, those assumptions, those models, I think is super important and not done often enough, very important. But that's not the end of the story. There are other reasons why you might want to engage with the future in different ways. You could be impacted by external forces. You could be impacted by COVID, by climate change, by wars, by political changes, all sorts of things. And these you can discuss with others and find out what the issues are, what those uncertainties are. Futures literacy is not about predicting exactly how the future is going to turn out, but it's a competence to handle different futures as they arise. We cannot know exactly what the future will be, but we can become stronger in handling different futures. So that's one reason if something external comes up to us. The other reason that I wanted to highlight for why we can use the future in such a way is that we could try to innovate. We could do something different. We can think outside the boxes that we have maybe just created. And I want to show you an example here. And we could do this. This is usually a good fun. If you sit together in tandems in this room here and think about other dresses you could have put on this morning and come here. What different clothes could you have chosen from your closet or from your partner's closet or from whoever, or think totally differently and what some clothes that you don't even have in your closets. And we did this at the same event in Zurich, and my colleague from PH in Bern actually illustrated this. And one team came up with, okay, let's dress in golden sweatsuits. And you can imagine what happens, and think about, and it's not captured by the AI, obviously, what happens if you come to an event dressed like that? So there will be probably different engagements, different contacts that you make, and different ideas that might be generated. I'm not suggesting that you all should come next year in a golden dress like this, but you see the idea of reframing the future and thinking differently about the future. And my colleague, in preparing for that event in Zurich, she actually, and she's a very futures literate person, Angelika Neudecker at PH Bern, and she actually created that image of a woman dressing like this, dressing in hard drives, in plates from computers. That's not something that our participants were able to imagine, but she, as having gone through several images of different futures, was able to prompt the AI to create something like this. So it's about creating, imagining different futures to allow to think about the present in different ways, to sense and make sense of the present in different ways. And that's one example. Of course, when we work on the future of work, the future of learning, or other topics, of course, other alternative futures will come up. And again, the interactions are not covered here. So basically, what my main points were that we all use the future, more or less all the time. And the competence of future literacy is about doing it in a more conscious way and maybe in a more structured, in a more methods-based focus. And if you want to learn more about this, of course, staying here, I'm available for questions. We have some minutes left for Q&A. Here's the structure that you can find in a paper that I wrote on the competence of future literacy. The basis is here complexity, uncertainty. This is the underlying reason why we're doing all this. And I'll walk you basically through, with the examples, I'll walk you through multiple futures, the imagination that you have, and the assumptions idea, the reframe, the experimenting with different futures, different dresses in our case, and the novelty and emergence that may come out of this. And of course, it's all related to action. We imagine the future, we work with the future to act accordingly, differently in the present. And that's my contact details. There's a paper, there's also, since it's a book fair, there's also a book. It's not it's my book from a couple of years ago. And thank you so much for having me, for being here. And if there's any issues you'd like to discuss, we have a microphone over there. Just raise your hand, and I'm happy to answer questions here or outside if you like.
Thank you for the presentation, and I totally agree that the competencies, including knowledge, skills, and because I have a study and attitude, I have a study and I use this 3 criteria to measure competencies for professional people who are working in information and content industry to see to what extent they have this knowledge and skills, and studying the gaps of their knowledge and skills, then redirect them to the skills they need to understand, that need to gain, and to be professional in their job. My question is about the best methodology you are used to study the future and give you accurate result, because you know this is a little bit fuzzy.
Well, the accuracy issue is a really important issue in complex, emergent, adaptive systems. I'm trained as an economist. I used to work in some of the skyscrapers here in Frankfurt doing predictions, doing forecasts for some of the big banks, Deutsche Bank, Merrill Lynch, and so on. So it was partly about accuracy. We were trying to beat our competitors. The other economist from the other bank is creating less accurate forecasts than I am. But then in my time, there were just so many crises, so many times the forecast did not turn out as I suppose all the others were predicting. There was the dot-com bubble, there was the Asian crisis, there was a mortgage. There's always something happening, something different. Something is happening out there that leads to our forecasts not being accurate. Most of the time they're accurate, they're okay. If the future is just continuing as it was in the past, forecasts are fine and can be accurate. But quite often something different happens. And that's life, actually. This is a social life as well. This is complexity. So personally, I've given up on the accuracy thing. What I'm doing these days is bringing people together to share their images about a certain topic. I think that's extremely valuable to know, this person looks at the same topic like this. We don't have to necessarily agree, but I take that input. And of course, we have to act. We have to be able to do something in the present based on that information. So I'm not denying this one, but accuracy, not something I'm pursuing these days. Anybody else?
Thank you from future. You know, I saw tweets by Elon Musk. I think it's 12 hours ago. It's a video. One man coming from the future for a wife and her husband eating egg. Then he said, "Stop! Don't eat egg. This will be an healthy issue.
Okay.
Don't eat it." Then he went out. He left. Suddenly he came back again. He said, "No, eat only the white." Okay? I came from future. Then he left, came back. He said, "Now you can eat the egg. It's very healthy." And everybody laughing. I think future, to think about future is very important. I want to ask, what's the percentage? You said there is a crisis. Always there is a crisis everywhere. And you think it will not happen. No one thought after the First World War there will be Second World War. No one think about it. But that's happened. No one thought after dot-com crisis there will be the mortgage crisis and Corona crisis. No one thought about that. Just for a normal time, what's the percentage that your thoughts of future is accurate?
I can't give you a number, and it's not a category that is important to me. When is it accurate? My point is here about the competence. How can we be able to act? How can we still continue to have agency if something different happens? If a pandemic hits us, if a financial market crisis hits us, if war happens, like we had here in Germany, all the consequences, the fallout from the different wars that unfortunately now are happening here. How can we still talk to each other and do something meaningful, useful for us as a society? This is what the competence is about. Again, I've given up predicting. I'm still interested in science. I'm still interested in correlations, in evidence. That's super important. I'm not moving this aside. And there are areas, of course, that you can't predict, like the number of seniors 65 plus in Germany, for example. That's pretty easy to predict, but that's not the important thing to me. The important thing is, what are they doing, those seniors, when they turn 65? Are they all retiring or are they still working? That's the important thing, and that I cannot possibly predict. There are some trends, but there could be a lot of changes. So, sorry.
In 2017, in Knowledge Summit, and we invite you to attend 19th and 20th of November, we mentioned 2017 after we introduced the first Global Knowledge Index with the United Nations. We said there will be crisis, but we don't know when. In 2017. Then in 2018, we said, during the second day of Knowledge Summit, talking about Global Knowledge Summit, the second issues, we said there will be crisis, but we don't know when. Do you know how we know that? Because R&D, we found out worldwide, been decreased up to 60% that years. And we thought, me and the team in the United Nations, there will be something will happen, because when R&D decrease like that, no investment, something will happen. And guess what? They announced the end of 2020. They said, we will increase 1,000 times our R&D because it's very important. Okay, they didn't do it before, and they're doing it after the crisis. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And again, the important thing is, how do we react to the crisis? That there's a crisis always, but what do we do together with others once the crisis hits? That's, to me, the crucial thing. Thank you very much.